Welcome back, learners. Now let us look at our third concept, which is the asteroid and the asteroid belt. All right? Now, rocks found in space, mostly between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, these are the areas in which asteroids are found. This is called the asteroid belt. Now, this belt, it is a huge area in which hundreds of thousands of rock pieces pieces race around the sun. If you can look at the picture on my right hand side, it shows clearly how the asteroid belt looks like. As you can see that they form sort of like a belt there, those rocks, okay? Now I hope you understand what the asteroid belt is. Now the asteroids, then they are made from materials similar to the material of terrestrial planets, but are too small to be called planets. Now remember, we are saying that even though we know what asteroids are, these are small materials that we find in terrestrial planets. They are very small that we cannot refer them as planets, okay? I hope you understood that. They also have the iron core, just like the core of the Earth. But because they are too small and they do not fit in the three categories that makes an object a planet, they cannot be referred to as planets. And they further cannot be referred to as dwarf planets. They are called asteroids because they are small rocks that are made up of materials that are forming part of planets, but they are not planets. All right. I hope you understood that. We move on to concept number 4, which is the meteoroid, the meteors, as well as the meteorites. All right. Now, what are these three things? The meteoroid, it is a solid object in space that is smaller than the asteroid. Remember, the asteroid, we did say that they are rocky, they have those small materials that are from terrestrial planets, but we cannot refer them as planets because they are very small. But the meteoroid, it is a solid object in space that is smaller than the asteroid. That is why we cannot also refer to it as a planet. Now, these meteoroids, they come from the asteroid belt. We already know what the asteroid belt looks like from our previous slide. Sometimes the meteoroid, they can enter the Earth's atmosphere and start to burn up. And when this happens, this is called now a meteor. So it becomes a meteor when it enters the Earth atmosphere and it starts to burn up. When it doesn't enter the atmosphere, when it's still there in the asteroid belt, it is not referred to as the meteor. It is referred to as the meteoroid. All right. It becomes the meteor when it reaches the Earth atmosphere, which when you see it, because it burns, you refer it, and normally you call it a shooting star. All right. That shooting star is referred to as the meteor. Sometimes the meteors, they can crash into the ground before burning up completely. And when they crash to the ground on the surface of the Earth, they are no longer going to be referred to as the meteors. They are now, these remains are then called the meteorites. The remains of the meteor, when it enters the atmosphere and then reaches the surface of the Earth, it is no longer going to be referred as the meteor. It then becomes a meteorite. So please don't confuse the three terms, guys. The meteorite, the meteoroid, it is the solid object in space. It is still in space in the asteroid belt. When it moves from the asteroid belt and enters the Earth atmosphere, it becomes a meteor. When the meteor reaches the surface of the Earth, becomes a meteorite. I hope you understand the three terms, okay? Now that we looked at the difference between the meteoroid, the meteor, and the meteorite, we can go to the fifth concept, which is the comets, right? Now, what are comets? A comet is a body made up of frozen gases and beads of rock. and it comes from beyond the furthest planets of all. Now the comets enter the solar system, travel around the sun, and then leave the solar system again. Now if we were to look at the structure of the comet, is that the structure of the comet have 3 distinct parts. We have a head. If you look at the picture on my right hand side here, we have the head. This part here will be referred to as the head of our comet. And then it also has an outer circle of light called a coma. If you look at this outer circle of light, right after the head, we will have what we call the coma. So this part will be the coma. And then lastly, it consists of a tail. And as you can see from the picture, right after the coma, we have that extension of light, which is called the tail. Okay. Now, please do not confuse the comet and the meteor, okay? The meteor, when it enters the atmosphere, it bends up. But the comets, the difference is that the meteor is made up of those small rocks. They are terrestrial components that look like rocks. But the comets, they are made up of frozen gases, and they are made up of ice as well as dust. So that is the difference between the two. They might both look like a shooting star, but they are not the same, because they appear as if both of them, they are burning, therefore both of them are shooting stars. But the difference is that the meteor is made up of rocks and the comets are made up of ice as well as dust. I hope we understand the difference, guys. All right. Now that we looked at the comets, we are going to look at concept number 6, which is the shape of the solar system. All right. Now, if you look at the shape of our solar system, look at my picture here, it looks like a flat disk, okay? As you can see, each planet has its own orbit. And because of that, they are referred to as planet because, as you can see, they have their own orbit. The spaces are clear that they can't even collide with each other or collide with other materials or objects. Now the sun, it spins at the center and all objects orbit around it in the same direction. So all these objects, all these planets, they have to orbit around the sun, and then because the sun is at the center of the solar system, and they must all orbit around the sun in the same direction. And the planets and all other objects in the solar system are held in their orbits by gravity. Remember, gravity is the force that pulls everything downwards, and it pulls two objects against each other or within each other. We will explain it just now on this slide. The more mass of an object, the more mass an object has, the stronger its gravitational pull. Now, the closer the two objects are to each other, also the stronger the gravitational pull is between them. Now, of all the bodies in the solar system, the sun has the most mass and therefore the strongest force of gravity. And because of that, that's why all the other objects, they orbit around the sun, because the sun has the hugest mass and it has the strongest gravitational pull. And the planets, they are there orbiting the sun, not falling, not doing anything, because of the gravitational pull between them. Remember, we said that the closer the two objects are between each other, the stronger the gravitational pull between them. That is why the planets are able to orbit around the sun without falling, without losing a direction. All right. And this is why planets and other objects in the solar system orbit around the sun. I've already explained that. All right. I hope you understood what I said about the shape of the solar system. We said that it's a flat disc-like shape, and all the objects that orbit around the sun, they're able to orbit because of the force of gravity. Now let us look at the last concept, which is the Kuiper belt and the Oort cloud. All right. Now, outside the solar system, beyond Neptune, it is a ring of ice with rocky objects known as the Kuiper belt. Now, if you look at the picture on my right hand side, it shows clearly the difference between the asteroid belt as well as the Kuiper belt. Now, if you look at the sun, there is my sun, and then I have my inner rock planet, such as Mercury. We said it's Venus, it's Earth, as well as Mars. Right after Mars, we have that layer. If you can see that layer, that icy layer there, this one is called the asteroid belt. So the asteroid belt, okay, excuse me there, belt. The asteroid belt, if you look at it, it is separating the two types, the two groups of my planets. Remember, I have the inner rocky planets and I have the gaseous planets. So just after the last planet, which is Mars, the last planet of the inner rocky planets, that's where we have the asteroid belt. But beyond the gaseous planet, remember the last planet there is Neptune. Just beyond Neptune, as you can see, I have another belt there. This belt is referred as the Kuiper belt. Okay, this is the Kuiper belt. Okay, that is the difference between the asteroid belt and the Kuiper belt. I hope you're not going to confuse the two. Remember, the Kuiper belt is found just beyond Neptune, all right? And we also have the Oort cloud. The Oort cloud is believed to be even further away than the Kuiper belt, okay? We also have an Oort cloud, and scientists believe that just after the Kuiper belt, further away, this is where we're gonna find the Oort cloud. Scientists believed that the Oort cloud consists of lumps of dust and gases. It is spherical in shape and surrounds also our solar system. It's just that I don't have the picture, guys, to show you how it might look like. It is also believed that the comets that enter the solar system come from the icy Oort cloud and the Kuiper belt. Remember, we said that the comets are made up of ice and dust, and the meteor, the one that enters the surface of the earth, the atmosphere of the earth, they are made up of rocks. So that is the difference between the two. That's why the comets, you are not going to find them at the asteroid belt, because the asteroid belt consists of rocks. They might be found in the Oort cloud as well as the Kuiper belt. That's what scientists believe. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today's lesson. I hope you understood the different types of planets that we have. And remember our sentence, my very elderly my very elderly mother just served us noodles. If you use that sentence, it's going to help you remember the order of the planets from the sun. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and I hope to see you next time.